All right, my name is Brandon Clayton. I am the Algebra Guy. Today we'll be talking about finding all factors of a number. So here's a problem that you're going to see. Here's an example problem. You see this one here. It says find all the factors of 80. So what does that mean? So let's talk about the questions that we're going to answer today. Two questions. What are factors and how do I find all the factors of counting numbers? So let's just jump right into it. So let's do the math talk, if you will. If you have A times B equals M, then A and B are factors of M, and M is the product of A and B. So why do we use these variables to have this discussion? Because it doesn't matter what numbers are there. Any two numbers that multiply to give some product, those two numbers, A and B in this case, are called factors. So we could play around with it and say 3 times 4 equals 12. And I'll ask you, what are the factors? And you would answer 3 and 4. Or just to drive this point home, we could say 5 times 6 equals 30. And I'll ask you, what are the factors? And again, you'll identify 5 and 6. Because those are the two that multiply just like A and B to get the product of M. In this case, it's 30 is the product, and 12 is our product. So let's talk about how do we find all the factors, because sometimes you do have more than one. There's many ways we've talked about up to this point. Now I'm going to talk about a different way. So we talked about 72 is a product of 8 times 9. 72 is a multiple of 8. Because if you were to keep counting with 8 times 1, 8 times 2, 8 times, as one of the multiples of 8. 72 is a multiple of 9 as well, because you have 8 nines will give you 72. So you keep going 9, 18, 27, 30, 28, no, 36, and so on. You'll get up to 72. So it's a multiple of 9. You can also say 72 is divisible by 8 and 9, because you can divide 72 by 8 and get a whole number 9. Or you can divide 72 by 9 and get a whole number 8. And really what we're doing is we're factoring 72. So we're breaking it down into two numbers that multiply to give you that product. So 8 and 9 in this case were the factors. So how do I find all the factors of a counting number? Let's answer that question now. Well, if you think about this situation. Someone has a class of ballet dancers and he wants to arrange the dancers in different groups. They have 24 total dancers. So one of the ways he could do it is get one group of 24 dancers, just one big group. Or he could do two groups of 12 dancers, because 12 times 2 is 24. He could break those 24 into three groups of 8 each. So 8, 8, 8 will give you 24, 3 times 8. And you see the pattern. 4 groups of 6, that still give me 24. And as we go down further, you'll see it continue. Matter of fact, you see something interesting happens after this point, don't you? Because now the numbers simply repeat. It's backwards. So you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 through 24 going from top to bottom, and 24 to 1 going bottom to top. These numbers that we use right here to come up with the groups, they're called factors. Why? Because these are the two numbers we kept using to get our product. In this case, it's 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. So if my question to you is what are the factors of 24? You could tell me easily. Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, 24. All these are factors because all these are possible numbers you could use to multiply to get 24. So let's do some more practice and break it down by definition of how to do it. So step 1, here's how we could find it. First, we can divide that number we're looking for by each of the counting numbers in order until the quotient is smaller than the divisor, which we'll show. We'll actually use 72. And we'll do that with. So we'll try that here in a second. If the quotient is a counting number, then the divisor and the quotient are a pair of factors. If the quotient is not a counting number, the divisor is not a factor. In other words, if you get a decimal when you divide, those two numbers are not factors. Step 2, list all the factors like we talked about a second ago. I said 1, 2, 3, 4, and I added them all up. And step 3 is optional, put them in this order from least to greatest. So step 3 is not necessary. And step 2 is kind of unnecessary. You don't have to, well, I guess you do if we're looking for all the factors. So let's pull up this table here to help us understand how to do that. And actually, I'm going to get my calculator out. And to make this a little faster. So here's my handy dandy calculator. And what we're going to do is say we're going to take 72 as our practice. You know what? Let me take, do I want to do 30? Yeah, let's do 72. So 72. And we're going to just start dividing it by each counting number. 70. So it says divide the number by each of the counting numbers in order. So we start with 1. Why in order? So we don't skip any. We don't want to accidentally miss a factor. 72 divided by 1, that's our divisor, is 1 equals 72. So I know now that 1 and 72 are factors. So let's keep it going. This is a great party. We're going to keep this 72 all the way down. 72 divided by 2, that's 36. So I know that 2 and 36 are factors. Let's keep it going. I'm going to change the color just because this is so fun. All right, 72 divided by 3. Is that an answer? Well, I actually can know from one of my rules before. I can add my 7 and 2 and see if it's a multiple of 3. 7 plus 2 is 9. So, yeah, I know that's going to work. What is the answer going to be? I'm going to use my calculator just to make sure. 72 divided by 3 is 24. So now I know that 24 times 3 is 72, and 3 and 24 are indeed factors. Running out of colors here. Actually, we got plenty. All right, keep on going. 72 and divided by 4. Does 72 go into 4? I don't think so, but let's try it anyway. Let's try it in the calculator to be sure. 72 divided by 4 is 18. Oh, I was wrong. So I'm glad I tried it. So now I know that 4 and 18 are factors because 4 times 18 gives us 72. And let's start back over with red. So 72 divided by 5. Now I know that's not a factor because we remember all the factors of 5 are either have a last digit of 5 or 0. 2 is not a 5 or a 0. But let's go ahead and figure out what that number would be. 72 divided by 5 is 14.4. Aha! Trying to sneak up on us, huh? Well, it didn't work, so we're going to say no to this one. We're just going to leave this one blank. I'll put an X there. Let's 72 and 6. I want a different color. We're going to go back to our blue. 72 and 6. I know what that one is. That is 7. 72 divided by 6 is 7. Oh my goodness. That's 42. I'm so glad I checked myself on that. So that is 12. So I know that 6 and 12 are 72. And keeping it going. 72 divided by 7. I don't think that's going to work, but I'm going to check myself because I've been wrong a time or two. And yep, look at that long decimal. That's not going to work. So that's giving us 10 point something. 10 point, let's say 10.3, rounding up. So that's not going to work. And we're going to keep on going until this quotient number or a divisor number is bigger than the quotient. See, right now, the divisor is smaller, 3 and 24. 3 is smaller than 24. 4 is smaller than 18. 5 is smaller than 14. And really what we're doing is we're trying to just avoid repeating ourselves. Because you remember a second ago, those numbers started repeating. So as soon as they flip around again, we no longer need to repeat the same numbers. So let's do 72 divided by 8. 72 divided by 8. What is that going to give us? 72 divided by 8 9. Of course it's 9. Why didn't I just put that? And so now we know that 8 and 9 is going to be there. And my next one is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But I'm not going to use 9 because guess what? That's going to give me an 8 over here. And now my divisor is bigger than my quotient. And you can see we're just going to start repeating ourselves because it's going to start going backwards. So there's no point in doing that. So I'm going to erase that just to make sure we're not confused. So this is all we need. Now the question, now we're being asked to list all the factors. So let's go ahead and list those. I'm going to erase my 72 up here. And I'm going to list them. So it looks like in order, it says write the factors in order. So I'm going to go 1, 2, and I'm taking the numbers straight from here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, and now I'm going to work my way up. 9, 12, 18, 24, 36, and 72. That's a lot of factors. But as you can see, all these numbers can multiply to give us 72 in some way. 1 and 72, 2 and 36, and so on. So that's how you factor from a whole number. Now I want to do at least one more. 96, I do not want to do 96 because if that gave us that big of a problem, let's try 80. So let's do 80. And I'm going to write smaller, and 80 divided by 1 is 80, because 80 times 1 times 80 is 80, so I know it's 1 and 80 there. And 80 divided by 2, I know that 2 times 40 is 80, so 2 and 40. Notice I'm not changing colors just to save time. 80 and 3, well, I know that's not going to work because 80 is not divisible by 3, because when I add 8 plus 0, it doesn't give me a multiple of 3. So I know this isn't going to work. This is going to give me some kind of decimal. I'll go ahead and pull that decimal up here on my nifty calculator. So 80 divided by 3, 26.6. 26.6. And we're just going to put an X there. That doesn't work. 80 and divided by 4. I know that does work. That's 20. So now 4 and 20 will work. 80 divided by 5. I know that works because the last digit is a 0 or a 5. And it's a 5 in this case. And it's probably going to be 13 is what I'm guessing. Let's check. 80 divided by 5. No, 16. 16. So I know 5 and 16 will work. 80 divided by 6. Pretty sure that's not going to work, but I'll check it anyway. 80 divided by 6. 13.3. That is a decimal, so note those aren't going to be factors. 80 divided by 7 won't work. So 80 and 7 give me a decimal of 11.4. And you see the numbers are getting close where they're about to switch. The 7 is going to be, the divisor is about to get bigger than the quotient. And we know we're reaching the end here. 80 divided by 9, that's at 80. No, that's not going to work, but just to make sure I'm thorough here, 8.8. Nope. And 80 divided by 10. I know that's going to work because 10 multiples of 10 end in 0, and 80 does end in a 0, so that's going to be 10 times 8. So 8 and 10. And my next one will be 11. I know that's not going to work either, but put it in there. So 11 and 7.2, that doesn't work. So now I'm just going to kind of click through here because I'm running out of room. 80 divided by 12 is not going to work. Nope. 80 divided by 13. So now you see my quotient is 6, and I said 13. So my divisor is bigger, much bigger than my quotient. So I can stop here. That's all the factors I'm going to get. And I'm going to write out all my factors in red in order. So right down this left column is 1, 2, 4, 5, 8. And as I go up, we got 10, 16, 20, 40, and 80. Those are all my factors of 80. And that's, ladies and gentlemen, how you find factors of a number, of all counting numbers. So we could have used the decimals, but we're talking about just the counting numbers. These are the factors you want to use. And that's going to do it for us today. Did we accomplish our goal? What are factors? So now you know what factors are. Factors are those two numbers you multiply to get a product. And how do I find them? Well, you just saw that we can just divide it one at a time. That number divided by 1, divided by 2, until you get all those numbers until they start pretty much repeating again. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Brandon Clayton, the Algebra Guy, and I will see you next lesson.